Hi ho. Hi Lex, you. How are you? You're the first person that just joined. Melrod, you're the second. Thank you so much. I see you a lot, so thank you. Catherine, Mama Daughter, Daglar, thank you so much for joining. We are back here, home together, back again on my account. We've done Patrick's account the last few days, and we're going to go back over there tomorrow. But today we wanted to come back here before the Memorial Day weekend, which is always looked at as the official start of summer, the official beginning of summer. Even though many of us are still at home, staying at home, learning about these new regulations as we ease into a new reality. I don't say a new normal, just a new is. So hi everybody, happy Thursday. I hope you're doing well. I hope you woke up on the right side of your bed this morning. I hope you have found one or two or three things to be grateful for. I know I have. Grateful that I was able to get up, put my feet on the floor. Really grateful for that. Grateful to be here with you in conversation. Grateful to be home. And grateful for my health. So I always think it's a good thing to start your day or at any point in your day to go through it and check, what am I grateful for? It's a way of writing how you feel. So I'm going to look on here to see if, let's see, Patrick wants to join. And what I just saw on there was that Sara is also actually waiting for us. We were going to request Sara. Patrick, come
What's
on
going
over.
on?
Come on over. I'm waiting for you because we're talking to one of your heroes today, or somebody you greatly admire.
Whoops, sorry, it just paused
Right?
for a second. But I'm super excited to talk with Sara, and you know, I've looked up to her as a fellow entrepreneur, and I know you look up to her as a female business owner,
Yes.
and also as a parent,
Yes.
as well. So I'm super excited to talk with her and get to hear about what she's doing right now to use her platform to help other people, specifically female business owners, and donating money, helping them during this time, and giving away some backpacks, some lucky backpacks.
She's giving away some backpacks. She's giving away funding for female entrepreneurs. And what I love is there's a story behind the amount she's giving away, the backpack that she's including, and it also includes a gift certificate to her master class. So come over here, Patrick. Patrick is, yeah, I should introduce myself. I'm Maria Shriver. You always like to see that.
I'm Patrick Schwarzenegger. I'm her son,
Yes.
and her co-anchor, and her friend, and her home together partner, the person that's living with her and taking care of her every single day.
Taking care of me because I'm in the vulnerable population. I'm essential to you.
You're essential to a lot of people.
Thank you, sweetheart. And this woman is essential to a lot of people too. The mother of four, a wife of Jesse. Her husband is great. Where are you going? And she's on an RV trip right now with her kids and her husband. I want to talk all about that. But what we really also want to talk to her about, because if you're a female entrepreneur, she's out there and she's got some help for you. So she's on the road. So we're going to request her in. I saw her on the request thing.
Oh,
here.
did you? I can't wait to see how her
there.
Wi-Fi situation is out on the middle of the road.
Uh-oh.
John Gray, I see you, John Gray.
Okay, but let's see. Oh, hi, John Gray. Oh, there you are.
Hi, guys.
How are you?
Sarah.
Hi. Hi. It's so great to talk to you guys. Thank you.
That looks like the nicest RV I've seen. That's a great one.
Listen, I gotta say, we came home late last night.
Oh, okay.
Our two boys graduated today from kindergarten, so we did the drive-through graduation in the parking.
Oh, wow. How was that for you and them?
My husband made a bet with me that I was going to cry. I'm absolutely not going to cry. And Maria, I was bawling like ugly cry. And all the teachers were waving their sweet signs. And I was like, oh, you know, because our little boys, we let them stand outside of the sunroof, and they literally turned into like two little Mr. America. They were waving like this to all their teachers.
Oh.
And it was emotional, obviously lots of reasons, you know?
Yeah. We
Yeah.
just had a graduation. Patrick's younger brother graduated on Zoom from Michigan 2 weeks ago, and I cried. It was really emotional. And I think it's emotional for everybody, these graduations. You think, oh, because they're on Zoom, maybe they won't be, or it's a drive-by, maybe it won't be. But it is, because there's so much that goes into that moment. And I think we're all a little emotional anyway. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. But I have been in an RV for the past 2 weeks. So I can't tell you how good it was. Like you were talking about gratitude and the simple things. I have never been more grateful for a bath. I just sat in my tub and was like, I am experiencing intense gratitude right now.
Oh, that's good. So, Sara, so Patrick is a big admirer of yours. I have been an admirer of yours for a long time, and we know each other. And I was so excited and grateful that you have stepped up in the way you have put aside $5 million, everyone, for female entrepreneurs at this time. Talk a little bit about that and what you're trying to do.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Especially during the crisis, I've been wanting to support women since I was a little girl. So that's sort of been my greater mission throughout my life. But I'm a small business owner. I act like a small business owner. I own Spanx 20 years later. And so I just wanted to help. I was like, what can I do during this time? I know what it feels like. And I decided to donate $5 million to help women, female entrepreneurs. And I was so excited to be able to do it. And what I'm doing is I'm giving 1,000 different female entrepreneurs $5,000 each. And wow. The 5,000 mentioned is symbolic because that's what I started Spanx with. And I've never taken any additional outside funding in 20 years. So I want to remind the girls and the women that are getting this that, you know, you can start small but dream big. And that's what I did. Spanx came to be with just that $5,000 in seed money that I saved from selling fax machines door to door before I started Spanx. And then everybody gets a lucky red backpack because I started Spanx with my lucky red backpack from college. And it was with me for the first 7 years of my Spanx journey. It was my purse. I did not have a purse. And I'd bring it into all my really important meetings at like Neiman Marcus headquarters and Bergdorf Goodman. And, you know, it was like a little embarrassing because everybody in those lines are perfect. And, you know, I've got this old red backpack, but I truly believe it's lucky. So each woman will also red backpack.
Wow, that's I need to get a red backpack, even though maybe I'll have you sign up and get me one. But so I want to talk about, obviously your focus is towards female entrepreneurs, and is that because you were a female entrepreneur and started a business, or are females having a harder time accessing capital during a moment like this?
I mean, it's both. So I just have this deep-seated gratitude for being a woman born in the right country at the right time. Uh-huh. And I don't know where it comes from. I've talked to my family about it. I didn't grow up in a family that was like pro-women and we got to help women. But I actually think this deep-seated feeling came from watching my mom and my grandmother's lack of options. And it was sort of this quiet thing that I absorbed growing up. And I felt like, oh my God, we've been on this planet a long time. My mom's only 22 years older than me. And the difference in just the 22 years of the opportunities that were given to me. So I've sort of taken this journey of, you know, Spanx or whatever it was going to be. Like I wanted to live my life almost in gratitude for all the women that came before me and even around the planet right now that still don't have this opportunity because of them being a woman. And so that's a big chunk of it. And then another part of it is if you do the research, it's really unbelievable. I think there's only something like 2.8% funding goes to female entrepreneurs.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, low. So
for people that are on here that are following you or listening to this or that will listen, what are the what's the criteria in order to come to get that grant or to apply? Do they have to be wanting to start a business? Does it have to be a business that was affected by Corona specifically? What are some of the details so people know?
Yeah, so I go to globalgiving.org. I partnered with Global Giving to do all of the vetting. So they're actually doing all of the selection of the recipients. There is a list of 5 or 6 criteria on their website, and it's globalgiving.org/red backpack fund.
Hmm.
And you have to be a business already, and you need to have certain criteria as far as revenue. You can't have revenue over $5 million. And, you know, the women are writing how coronavirus in this time has affected them specifically. So it's also trying to help. And there's a component to this of some of the women who've already received we've given 200 women their funds already. They've pivoted, which is really cool to see entrepreneurs do this. They're hurting themselves, but one woman has a catering company in Chicago, but she's pivoted to cater to the front line, and she's serving food to all the hospitals in her area. So there's a component of that as well. These women are really making an impact in their communities.
And we should say that I think a new round is available starting June 1st. But I want to know, Sara, how has Spanx had to pivot? You mentioned you're still the CEO. You're teaching a master class on how to be a CEO and start your own business. But how have you, as a business owner, had to pivot?
I mean, well, you know, there's so much happening as a business, and I have 4 children under the age of 10. So I haven't had childcare. I can tell you one thing, when this all happened, you should have seen this, what I was going to accomplish. I mean, it was like, I'm going to write a book. I even had on my list, I'm going to invent something that will help clean the ocean. And the only thing I've done, Maria, are dishes and like keeping my children alive. So as a business leader, the first thing I did was just, of course, I thought about my people. I was like, how do I keep my people safe? And I wanted to make all the right decisions there. So we closed the office early. The office is still closed. It's just such a difficult time to make these kinds of decisions, but I don't want to put anyone in harm's way. And we closed our retail stores. And then over communicate. I feel like it's a time to over communicate with your team, and during crisis is a good time to actually build culture, because people will remember how you showed up for them in big and in small ways. And then, you know, I had a whole checklist. Like, it went from costs. Spanx is a zero-based budget company, which has helped us tremendously, but we got together as leaders and immediately made a new budget for this new situation that we're in. And I tell people a lot, zero-based budget is really helpful, because each leader in the organization every year has to start at 0 and build their budget and put a corresponding ROI, or return on the investment, and justify it. That's helped Spanx. Like, I've never had any debt, and I've never taken in any in 20 years. And so I think a lot of it is, yes, finding that great product. I would say entrepreneurs are the people who invent something, or they make something that already exists better. And that's a big component of success in owning a business. But the other part is the way you manage your costs. That's a really big.
So I want to talk just further on the idea of entrepreneurialism and to new entrepreneurs out there. I mean, we have a whole new graduating class of 2020. We have a lot of people that are out there, you know, still wanting to create businesses, to venture into that entrepreneurial space. What kind of advice do you have for people that still want to go and create a company, that haven't even started and that are entering this kind of economic time and what's going on with COVID?
Well, I said it the other day, and I do believe this. If you have truly invented something or figured out a way to make something better, there's no wrong time to start a company. I mean, I started just right before 9/11, and that was a very jarring time for business and retail, and, you know, a very scary climate then as well. But I haven't paid much attention to the macro environment as I've been running my business. I'm very laser on the customer and my why. I think if you're an entrepreneur and you're clear on purpose, and you stay deeply connected to it, then you'll weather the storm, you know, no matter when you're entering this space. So I wouldn't really time, you know, if you're an entrepreneur out there trying to create something, try to time the market. I would just go for it. And then I would also say people aren't really willing to start small. I mean, there's this whole I got to go raise $30 and I want to be big overnight. And there's some real there's some real dangers to doing that as far as an entrepreneur ending up not owning a big chunk of their business, and a lot of that fizzle out quickly too.
Yeah, I love that advice. I think you were saying is starting with your backpack, starting with $5,000, and just having your why and your purpose. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, Sarah, you mentioned 4 little kids, right? And a husband, Jesse, I know, who has a whole kind of life, which is also super interesting. But so many people feel like, God, if I start a business, I won't be able to have a relationship. For sure, I won't be able to manage kids and a family and all of that. What's your advice on that?
That's a tougher one, Maria, because I started Spanx when I was single. I did not have a family. I did not have small children. And I will tell you that for me and my journey, and it's different for everyone else, I worked around the clock for several years. And so it doesn't mean that that's, you know, because there's lots of different ways to go about it. I went about it where I own 100% of it. I, you know, was doing most of it all by myself in the beginning. That was my choice. But listen, if I started this with small children or a husband, it would be extremely difficult. I mean, very, very difficult. And I think that you have to be realistic about that. Where are you in the stage of your life? And if you are in a stage where you have a lot of other responsibilities, then I would really consider, how are you going to get additional support? Like, who are you going to put around you in your business to help you launch it?
Yeah, good advice.
There's just a bunch of people asking on here, and I think it's so interesting. Going back to what your answer was 2 questions ago or something, that entrepreneurs need to focus on their why and then their customers. Who are their customers?
Yeah.
How did you start with your why? How did you figure out your why when you created Spanx? I mean, I've read a little bit about how you came up with the idea and why you came up with it. So I just wanted to hear that.
Well, my why has sort of been with me for a long time. I fumbled around with it. I didn't know it would lead to me wanting to create a business around it, but it helped elevate women and support women. And so I feel very passionate about that. And when I started Spanx, I came across one item that helped wear clothes better. And so I thought, oh, this is great. I'm the consumer. Most entrepreneurs are frustrated consumers. But when I was getting it made and I stood in the manufacturing plants in North Carolina and realized that no one was really advocating for how we as the woman felt in garments, it became a passion for me to be the advocate through product for women. Because I believe it, you know, there wasn't really another woman in the room. No one was wearing the products that they were making. And I my hand and going, these are really, really uncomfortable, you know? And it was like, well, they're buying them. And I thought, well, yeah, we're buying them because we don't have another option. So it's like that passion for me. And I tell people, if they're tuned in right now, what makes you cry? That's a really good way to get to the heart of what you're passionate about really quickly. Like, what really upsets you, what makes you cry? You're gonna, you know, whatever that is that surfaces for me, not being able to fulfill their potential simply because of who they are. For some people, it might be animals. Some people, it might be the environment, you know, whatever that is. But what really stirs you inside, you got to pay attention to what that is. And then how can you create something in your life that if it doesn't directly serve what your purpose is, that you back and you feel a greater sense of, I'm going to take the money that I'm making from this and be able to difference. And that, more than anything, staying connected to your purpose will keep you motivated hardest of times. I mean, that's you know, and also, I mean, I haven't been doing this really for the money, and I think that also is the reason 20 years later I'm still doing it. Because some people will say, Sarah, why are you still doing this? Because of that passion. I found my why, and the why doesn't really run.
Right. So good.
Yeah, Sarah, so many people finally that, you know, they want to start something and they get 10 no's in a row, or they get 10, you're crazy, or 10, you can't do that. Or how did you handle that? The no's that can't do it. And for everybody out there who's getting that, no, you can't do it, your idea is too big, no one will do it. What's your best advice on that?
I mean, to me, a no, and then it's a funnel. I sold fax machines door to door for years before I started Spanx. So the amount of no's that I got, Maria, were so incredible. I mean, all day long. People ripped up my business card in my face about once or twice a week. I'd get escorted out of buildings. So I had just really unbelievable training in being told no. So when I started Spanx, I kind of knew that you have to have a certain amount of no's to get to the yes. And so I almost visualized a funnel of no's, and you got to fill up the top of the funnel with like tons of no's, and you get that yes that drops out. So you don't want to stop filling the top of the funnel with no's. And I read the other day on someone's Instagram, and it said a loser is just a winner who tried one more time.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
so great.
same with no's and yeses. I was no for 2 years. I mean, every person I approached was like, this isn't a good idea. Understand it. We don't get it. And I so see, like, you know, if I stopped, none of this would have happened.
Yeah, it's so great. I just want to say I met Sara right after she started Spanx. I was First Lady of California. I was doing a conference. She came. She was just starting out before any of this. And she's exactly the same. She's got more kids and she has a husband and stuff like that now. But she's the exact same kind of inspiring, upbeat, motivated leader. And I take great joy in following her because she shares what she has made with her friends. Mm-hmm. And it's really, your story is extraordinary. It's such an inspiration for male entrepreneurs as well as female entrepreneurs. As he was saying, I wonder if the advice would be the same for guys like me, right? You were saying.
Yeah, well, I wanted to actually just end with one last thing. I know kind of with everybody that we've been talking to, and we know this month is kind of a graduation month. And do you have any just last parting words that you want to give to new graduates that are entering this time of uncertainty and high unemployment rate and everything else?
I mean, I'll tell you what I did when I first started Spanx. I actually had I was in a very dark time. And I think that really cool things can happen out of dark times, you know? It's almost like I was at a rock bottom place, and because of rock bottom, it propelled me to do something like this. So I was selling fax machines door to door. I was being kicked out of every place. It was 7 years of my life. And one day, Patrick, I pulled off the side of the road and I literally was like, I'm in the wrong movie. Like, call the director, call the producer. This is not my life. And I went home that night and I wrote in my journal, what are my strengths? And that's what I would encourage people to do. What are you good at? I asked myself, you know, and literally the only thing in the good column was sales. And I thought, okay, well, why am I good at sales? Asking myself, and finally I got to the point of, I really like giving something or selling something to people that improves their life or makes them feel good, or it like helps them in some way. And so that night I wrote in my journal, I'm going to invent a product to sell to millions of people that feel good.
Wow.
And I looked up at the sky in my apartment and I said, universe, please give me the idea. And so I would say to people, get about your strengths, ask the universe for the idea that is meant for you, and then be very open, your receptors open. And my idea didn't come to me for 2 years. I continued to sell fax machines. I was very aware because I had set that intention. And it was 2 years later that I cut the feet out of control top pantyhose to wear under white pants to a party. And I only did it one time because I came home that night and I was like, are you my idea? You might be the idea that I asked the universe for. And so I wasn't going to squander single idea to try to help get me into the right movie. And now I'm in the right movie, you guys.
Well, that's the law of attraction. I'm a big believer in that and manifesting things into reality. So I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. We appreciate it. Hopefully your kids enjoy the summer and being done with kindergarten.
And the red backpack, we'll put up the information where you go to access the fund or try to get Sara's help, which I think that people
can also donate to that to help other entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs, correct?
Oh. That up, Patrick. I've had so many different people donate from $5, $50. A lot of other female entrepreneurs actually have said, I want to pay it forward. I've had that have been so great. So it's all directly to these women, and that's a great call out. So, and we're going to continue to select the women for the next 4 months, and we're opening it up at the beginning of every month so that we can then, Global Giving can do the screen, select the women.
Maybe we'll get you come back in like a month or two with one of the women.
That would be amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
smart.
that'd be great. So we want to thank you, Sara, for coming off the road trip after graduation, which is an emotional day, to spend a little time with us at home together. So always a pleasure.
I just want to tell you guys inspire me. And so thank you for saying that, but you're a cool family. I look up to you guys as well. And Patrick, good luck on your entrepreneurial ventures. You're already on your way. So you've got the bug for sure. And so thank you for being a light in the world, both of you, and spreading positivity.
Thank you, Sara.
Thank you so much.
Congrats to your kids. I love that.
All right, see ya.
Regarding graduation, I remember, I should say, I remember when you graduated from kindergarten. It's a big deal. Preschool graduation, kindergarten graduation. It's a big
high school, and then college,
and then if whatever. So we're all graduating every day. We're graduating to the next day. We learn something every day. Like, I just learned a lot from her.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was great to talk about advice for new entrepreneurs, talk about her why and what made her really start, and how other people can get started, to giving that $5,000 grant to other female entrepreneurs that are out there that are struggling during this time of COVID, to red backpacks, to her lucky red backpack. To, I mean, there were so many different family aspects.
Yeah.
So that was a great conversation, and
then also to
really
just, I like the idea that a lot of people find themselves depressed now, anxious, in a dark place and stuff. And she was saying that had she not been in that place, maybe this would not have been her movie.
Yeah.
And so I think that, we were talking about there's never a right time. Just because you're having a hard time doesn't mean it might not be your time. Yeah. So I think there was inspiring advice in there. We put these up on YouTube. You can go and re-listen to her. She's also doing a master class. You can apply for a grant. You get a backpack. You get a free pass to the master class.
Yeah, we will have this available to rewatch for people that came in late. The full conversation will be there, so you guys can continue to watch it. And
her husband's also, Jesse, he carves out his own path.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's an amazing entrepreneur on his own. I mean, he's a great speaker, author, entrepreneur. So he would be great to have on as well.
Okay, so why don't you book him? I spoke with him.
I don't know him. I would love to meet him.
I do know him. But now you know his wife, so you can go and ask his wife to help you book her husband.
All right.
That's kind of
people wondering about my hat. Yeah, it's a pink hat. It says, it has a purpose. It says art with purpose. It's for breast cancer, raising money for breast cancer. So,
Yes. There's so many organizations out there that are still working on the front lines, whether it's in the arts, whether it's in Alzheimer's, whether it's in breast cancer, you name it. There's so many other organizations still working throughout COVID to raise money, to do their work. So don't forget about them. And we want to thank you. People asking about your ice cream. Are you going to be doing more ice cream?
Yeah, I just got my own Patrick's Pint spoon in. So now we're going to go and get some ice cream.
You have a Patrick's Pint apron or no?
No, I need to get the apron in.
Okay.
But we have a lot of ice cream to be eaten this weekend. So stay tuned.
Okay. Thank you guys so much. Tomorrow on your account,
Blake,
speaking of entrepreneurs, Tom Shoes, the 1-for-1 model.
Yes, he started Tom Shoes. He founded Tom Shoes. He raised, I think he donated 100 million shoes to people in need. I mean, it's a massive company. The 1-for-1 model really pioneered that and started the kind of idea that a company can make profit, but also help other people.
Yeah.
And, he's also a serial entrepreneur. I mean, he started multiple other companies and businesses. So we'll talk to him tomorrow on my Instagram at Patrick Schwarzenegger. And
what time?
I believe it's 11 a.m. Pacific.
Yes, so you can get going on your weekend. So we did it early.
Yes, early, 11 a.m. Pacific. And so people ask what time, 11 a.m. Pacific on my Instagram. And that's 2 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you guys there.
Thanks for joining us today.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Oops.